Check, check. Ooh, hey everybody, welcome to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. I have a big announcement. This is coming in live. Yes, I'm hearing, I'm listening to my producer now. Faye Liverin is here to announce that the Canary Cry Clips channel now has... Well, I've lost control of my screen. There it is. Now has episode playlists. That's right, episode playlists. So go to the Canary Cry Clips channel, follow it. If you're not subscribed to it, I don't even know what you're doing. It's the most useful tool in the Canary Cry family of products. You got your short clips of the show, anywhere from 2 minutes to a half hour, depending on the length of the segment. And now we've got playlists, so you can review all of the clips within single episodes in an easy, fast, fun, shareable, careable way. So go check it out. Canary Cry Clips is where it's at, folks. And it's a great way to introduce other people to the content of the show without subjecting them to the madness. There's still some madness, but you get the point. Okay, I am right now sending out the text message, which is a little bit late, so everybody will know that the show is starting. And if you want to receive our text message alerts so you never miss a show again, go ahead and text the word Canary. That's right, you get it. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. 877-740-3226. You'll see it on the screen. Okay, let's get going, folks. Yeehaw!
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live to tape on April 6th, 2022. This is episode 468, and today, AI-LIEN conception. And razzle dazzle, I am your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And
indeed,
yeah, it's always
we got
fun.
a great show today. We got a great show today, Gonz. I'm very excited. Of course, we've got our lead stories, not only checking in with things going on in Russia, but even more, we'll be checking in with some newly declassified UFO documents, Moderna getting in on the FLIPPY game, some Ukraine updates, PSYOPs, COVID updates, politics, bird watch. Yes, it's been a while since the last Canary Cry bird watch, and of course checking in with some big news in Antarctica. So stick around, folks. But to kick off the show, Gonz, it's time for our lead stories.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
This comes from LiveScience.com. UFOs left radiation burns and unaccounted for pregnancies, new Pentagon report claims. So the 1,500 pages of UFO-related research were just declassified as part of a FOIA request. And apparently there's some interesting stuff in there.
Okay. Is this another Black Vault project?
I don't know. Let's go through it.
We'll
I think this is, okay, let's go through it. Encounters with UFOs have reportedly left Americans suffering from radiation burns, brain and nervous system damage, and even, quote, unaccounted for pregnancy. end quote, according to a massive database of U.S. government reports recently made public through a Freedom of Information Act request. The database of documents includes more than 1,500 pages of UFO-related material from the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, the AATIP, a secretive U.S. AATIP, a secretive U.S. Department of Defense program that ran from 2007 to 2012. Despite
suspiciously short-lived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just suspiciously through the economic crash. Mm-hmm. Despite never being classified as secret or top secret, the AATIP only became known to the public in 2017 when former program director Luis Elizondo resigned from the Pentagon and released several now infamous videos of an unidentified aircraft moving in seemingly impossible ways to the media. You know, that whole thing, in hindsight, it's like, what a perfect cover-up. You know, you got the guy in the Pentagon, comes out, he's like, oh, I'm releasing video and all this kind of stuff to make it seem like, oh, we're investigating it, when really maybe they're the ones developing it and have hands on the technology.
It is a great psyop, yes. Oh, we don't know what these crazy...
But we have been looking into it, you know.
We're totally aware of them. We don't know what they are. They're definitely not ours. But don't tell Russia.
Shortly after the AATIP's existence was revealed, the U.S. outpost of the British tabloid The Sun, it's The Sun, filed a FOIA request for any and all documents related to the program. 4 years later, on April 5th, 2022, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, honored the request by releasing more than 1,574 pages of material to The Sun. Sun.co.uk, getting in on the scoop. According to The Sun. Kudos, I know. According to The Sun, the cache of documents included reports of reports on the biological effects of UFO sightings on humans, studied on advanced technologies such as invisibility cloaks and plans for deep space exploration and colonization. Some portions of the document were, quote, withheld in part for privacy and confidentiality concerns, the AATIP told The Sun. One standout document from the collection is a report titled Anomalous Acute and Subacute Field Effects on Human and Biological Tissues, dated March 2010. The report describes alleged injuries to, quote, human observers by anomalous advanced aerospace systems, end quote, some of which may be a, quote, threat to United States interests, according to the document. The report describes 42 cases. Adam 42, what are you doing in there? The report describes 42 cases from the medical files and 300 unpublished cases where humans sustained injuries after alleged encounters with anomalous vehicles. It's, quote, anomalous vehicles, which include UFOs. In some cases, humans showed burn injuries or other conditions related to electromagnetic radiation, the report said, some of them appearing to have been inflicted by, quote, energy-related propulsion systems. Hit that bell right. There you go.
Sort of deliciously vague.
It is, but it's also juicy.
Energy related.
Yeah, energy related. Yeah, propulsion systems. Isn't everything an energy related propulsion system? Now that I think about it,
I'm pretty sure a bicycle is an energy related.
Technically, walking can be okay. The report
a toot might be too.
The report also noted cases of brain damage, nerve damage, heart palpitations, and headaches related to anomalous vehicle encounters. It is unclear what kind of vetting process, if any, the AATIP used to investigate these alleged cases. That's
it's a VAERS thing, you know. Anybody can report anything. I mean, it's the only place that they can, and we recommend they do, and it's our official thing. But there's no way to verify.
It's unclear what kind of... we already read that. The Sun has yet to share the full contents of the requested reports. The report also includes a list of alleged biological effects of UFO sightings on human observers between 1873 and 1994, compiled by the
1873.
Yeah, you know what? That's about the time when people started seeing those airships. You know, we've looked at the airship stuff. Remember, there's a Trump airship.
Yeah,
crazy weird.
I love how the Sun received all the documents, and they're like, "Oh,
we're not going to release all of them.
We'll never tell. We're the Sun."
Okay, it was compiled by the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, a civilian nonprofit group that studies reported UFO sightings. The reported effects of UFO encounters include, quote, unaccounted for pregnancies, apparent abduction, paralysis, an experience of perceived telepathy, teleportation, and levitation.
So the whole thing.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much
anything
you could... anything you could sort of imagine would come from an alien encounter. They've got it written down in the files.
The report concludes that there is sufficient evidence, quote, to support a hypothesis that some advanced systems are already deployed and opaque to full U.S. understandings. Yeah, somebody has deployed this technology. That's kind of been my stance for a while, that yes, there are strange entities out there, and perhaps they hold the knowledge to all this technology, but it seems like they've been helping a particular select few, the chosen ones, the ones who accepted the offer at the top of the kingdom there, to develop this technology and have it fly around and threaten governments and do all kinds of stuff. You got all kinds of power if you can unleash this technology. Quietly, too.
Trust, just any death ray and unimaginable sort of flying vehicle to any lizard person. They need to prove themselves.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Are you having a problem with Skype? Do you have any lag or anything from me?
I had some earlier. It seems to have gotten better right now, but.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that. Yeah. I was getting some dropout, but
yeah,
we'll keep moving.
The one thing I have to say about this story is that especially for Christians, believers out there, there's really no excuse to not at least know about the explanatory power of the Genesis 6 paradigm, so to speak, of the narratives, a particular narrative of the Bible that really explains all this stuff, especially the unaccounted for pregnancies thing, which is pretty much exactly what it's described in Genesis 6. If you go there, talks about the sons of God. If you're new to the show, we talk about, this is one of our staple sort of ideas that really got us into these sorts of topics that connects to the New World Order and aliens and all that kind of stuff. But in Genesis 6, it's before the Great Flood. It's actually the reason why God flooded the earth. It wasn't because, people were mean to each other and hitting each other with sticks. It was more so a genetic corruption that took place, where it says in Genesis 6 here, now when men began to multiply on the face of the earth and daughters were born to them, daughters were born to men, okay, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful. So sons of God being a separate thing from daughters of men. They saw that they were beautiful, and they took as wives whomever they chose. And that's when, it starts getting into the Nephilim, and the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. And you go down those rabbit trails. We won't do it here because, we've done plenty of that in the past. It really does get interesting. It does have a lot of explanatory power. And just to point to an article that really summarizes it well, there's a Logos Bible article called "Who Are the Nephilim and What Is Their Origin?" It's written by our friend Basil, Dr. Mike Heiser, who's an ancient Near East scholar, and he's really been the guy who, academically looked at, or scholarly, approached this subject, looked at the text in the Old Testament.
The most mainstream adjacent.
Right.
He's known by weirdos and normies alike.
Yeah, he's one of the only biblical theologians, scholars who were talking at UFO conferences in like 2005. He's like one of those guys that just really bridges worlds, so to speak, when it comes to this topic. So there you go. I mean, there's not much else to say other than
I do have a comment.
I have an emergency here. Hang on a second.
Baby emergency? Okay, while you do that, I will mention it is, baby emergency. I can't see what's going on, so hopefully everything's okay. But when it comes to these FOIA requests and these strategic, sometimes they call them leaks, sometimes they're declassifications, sometimes they're official FOIA requests, things like that. We've noticed, especially over the past 2 years, in the heat, I would say the pinnacle of pandemic frenzy came another one of these big drops, of information that really made waves. And now I don't think it's a coincidence that during the potential opening act of World War III, another sort of big drop. Now, these come every so often, and sometimes they are obtained in more illicit ways than FOIA requests, which does make me specifically not suspicious, but it is something to note. You got to remember, FOIA requests are an official, bureaucratic, approved, reviewed process. It's not a leak. It's not somebody blowing the whistle. It's not anything like that. It's comes out because it is allowed to come out. And it is these FOIA requests and the official bureaucratic declassification of things like this that always come at the perfect time to distract the population just enough to get something done.
Yeah, it's a useful tool.
A very useful tool because it's irresistible, and of course it's irresistible to us as well. But keeping that in mind, when a big UFO drop happens, that's the time. Take a look at it. Don't ignore it, but start looking a little deeper into what else is going on. What may they be trying to distract from? And with that, Gonz, any last words on that?
I think that's it. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say other than great opportunity to elbow your normie friend and be like, hey, this is a legit thing out there happening. And check out Canary Cry News Talk because they talk about it and all the stuff, all the content, the hours and hours of content that we have on this subject. So
don't forget to mention the show. Okay, speaking of what they might be distracting us from, let's talk about Russia.
Yay!
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
Artificial intelligence.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
That's right, folks. Russia, AI, and the Panopticon. This is coming from Wired.com. The headline, as Russia plots its next move. Ooh, they're plotting. An AI listens to the chatter. Putin chatter. Got to hear that Putin chatter. Mm-hmm. And it goes like this. A radio transmission between several Russian soldiers in Ukraine in early March captured from an unencrypted channel reveals panicked and confused comrades retreating after coming under artillery fire. Yeah, that's usually what happens when you come under artillery fire.
I like how it's an unencrypted channel. It's almost as if the Russians could be like, let's play this tape for the unencrypted channel.
Oh, please. Yeah. The fact that it's even on an unencrypted channel just screams psyop.
Yeah.
Quote, Vostok, I am Snego 2 on the highway. We have to turn left. F, they say a bad word. One of the soldiers says in Russian using code names meaning east and snow, O2. Apparently, they're not very good code words, but okay. Quote, got it. No need to move further. Switch to defense. Over, another responds. Later, a third soldier tries to make contact with another codenamed South 95. Yug 95, do you have contact with a senior? Warn him on the highway. Artillery fire. On the highway. Artillery fire. Don't go by column. Move carefully. The third Russian soldier continues.
Why does it feel like I'm playing an old Bond, like GoldenEye or something?
Because my Russian accent is directly influenced by old Russian Bond villains. The third Russian soldier continues, becoming increasingly agitated. Get on the radio. Tell me your situation and the artillery location. Approximately what weapon are they firing? Later, the third soldier speaks again. Name your square. Yug 95, answer my question. Name the name of your square.
Wow, sounds like there's a lot of chaos.
Yeah, well, he's out of breath because of the artillery fire. As the soldiers spoke, an AI was listening. Ooh. Their words were automatically captured, transcribed, translated, and analyzed using several artificial intelligence algorithms developed by Primer, a U.S. company that provides AI services for intelligence analysts. While it isn't clear whether Ukrainian troops also intercepted that communication, the use of AI systems to surveil Russia's army at scale shows the growing importance of sophisticated open source intelligence in military conflicts. A number of unsecured Russian transmissions have been posted online. Cool.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
What are these Russians never heard of encryption before? What's the
They've
deal
never
here?
heard of a VPN?
Yeah, they are the most talented cyber criminals in the world, but they can't get a VPN on their transmissions.
This is when Ben Shapiro would drop in buy the VPN. This is how you can protect yourself.
And if you don't want to be like the Russian military, try coolvpn.com. Yes, they're one of our sponsors, and they love waffles. A number of unsecured Russian transmissions have been posted online, translated, and analyzed on social media. Other sources of data, some open source warfare here, including smartphone video clips and social media posts, have similarly been scrutinized, but it's the use of natural language processing technology to analyze Russian military communications that is especially novel. For the Ukrainian army, making sense of intercepted communications still typically involves human analysts working away in a room somewhere, translating messages and interpreting commands. I thought this was an interesting detail because as much money and weapons and planes and tanks and everything that we're sending to Ukraine, we can't upload them a zip file with some AI in it to analyze the Russian commands. Weird. I don't know. Well, I haven't heard Zelensky asking for it yet. Excuse me, UN, please send us some AI.
He's got other things going on.
Yeah, apparently. The tool developed by Primer also shows how valuable machine learning could become for parsing intelligence information. The past decade has seen significant advances in AI's capability around image recognition, speech transcription, translation, and language processing, thanks to large neural network algorithms that learn from a vast tranches of training data. Off-the-shelf code and APIs that use AI can now transcribe speech, identify faces, and perform other tasks, often with high accuracy. Some of them aren't the best. As the half of this show who has attempted to get AI to transcribe our shows.
Our show, yeah.
I will say it's really not that often that it has high accuracy. But okay. In the face of Russia's numerical and artillery advantages, intercepting communications may well be making a difference for Ukrainian troops on the ground. And then it kind of goes into a sales pitch for Primer. I think there is a chance that is mostly what this is for.
Yeah, 100%. But there's also, I highlighted a spot here from Sean Gorley, the Primer's CEO, and it says here, Sean Gorley, Primer CEO, says the company's engineers modified these tools, being these like AI algorithms, to gather audio captured from web feeds and broadcast communications captured using software that emulates radio receiver hardware to remove noise, including background chatter and music, to transcribe and translate Russian speech, and to highlight key statements relevant to the battlefield situation. In some cases, this involved retaining machine learning models to recognize colloquial terms for military vehicles or weapons. Right. And I don't know. I don't know why I highlighted that. It just reiterated everything you read there. So anyway,
we're only human, folks. Okay, we don't have any AI. Well, I
have another part highlighted. The involvement of private companies in the war in Ukraine, such as those that provide satellite communication and imaging, raises questions about the power this gives those companies and how they may become embroiled in an international conflict. So I think that's a very important point. Is that
And that connects. Let me add this to it, and then we'll break it down a little bit. The ability to train and retain AI models on the fly will become a critical advantage in future wars, says Gorley. He says the company made the tool available to outside parties, but refuses to say who. Quote, "We won't say who's using it or for what they're using it for, Gorley says. Several other American companies have made technologies, information, and expertise available to Ukraine as it fights against Russian invaders. So, I love this because these AI companies are truly following the weapons manufacturer's model.
The playbook, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a weapon.
So
AI is a weapon.
It is a weapon. Yeah. And, it occurred to me that this really is the first full kinetic combat, not combat, but real international war situation.
AI war. AI is involved with, yeah.
Right. That AI, it's this turning point. We've been talking about AI and robots for years and how they will, be involved in warfare and future wars and things like that. And it's a really interesting time right now because this is the first time there's sort of a international geopolitical, worldwide, economy-shattering war that has AI at the center of it. The true first training ground, if you will, for what AI can mean in warfare. And in true arms manufacturers fashion, these AI companies are like, yeah, we sell AI, we sell it to a lot of people. I mean, we couldn't possibly tell you who. I couldn't tell you who it isn't either. It's just, we're a company and that's what we do. We make a weapon and we sell that weapon. Stop asking questions. Have you seen our stock price? And, it's of course very suspicious. And we have to know, of course we know that Russia is doing similar things. And are any of these American companies
helping Russia?
Has any of that software made it over there? And of course, we would want to say, no, that's so wrong. We would never let that happen. But war after war after war is marked with the war profiteering of American companies who inevitably arm America's enemies, even if they did it, a couple years ago or something like that. One of these companies shaking in their boots being like, we sold Putin that AI 2 years ago. Oh, I hope this doesn't come out. World War II is the same way. You got who was Ford and
IBM.
Was it in IBM? Thank you.
Yeah.
IBM. All of these American,
corporations,
bastions of industry who were not aiding, but providing
the technology,
the tools. Yeah. For money to some of humanity's greatest enemies.
It's kind of like when you go to what are those things called where you do laser fights, laser battle. What is it called?
Wow, laser tag.
Yeah.
Okay,
you walk in.
You had
right?
half of it.
Yeah, everybody walks in and they hand you the weapons. Both sides. You and the enemy get the same weapons to go play the game. It's kind of the same deal.
It's only fair. Yeah. And so, this, again, just to reiterate it and wrap it with a bow, wars are always the proving grounds for new technology and the catalyst for the next level of perhaps world order or rules of war or normalcy in these new higher level tools like AI, drones, things like that. So it's a little concerning. And once again, the conspiracy theorists were right.
The title of this episode, AI-LIEN conception. It's kind of playing on alien conception being
just rolls right off
the unaccounted for pregnancies, but also AI, because AI seems to appear, I think, in maybe other than one, it appears in like multiple stories today. Isn't it? Maybe not the main focus of the story, but certainly having an underlining role to play in all the things we covered today. And I think it's going to become more and more normal for AI to just be part of the equation of conversation when it comes to various geopolitical stories or whatever it may be. And I was reminded of a story that came out on Verge in 2017. I made a video about this on the Facelikethesun channel. That's why I remembered this. But the headline back in 2017, Putin says the nation that leads in AI will be the ruler of the world. The ruler of the world.
Well, finally, something you, me, Elon Musk, and Putin can agree on.
But it's interesting that stories like this are out there. And now we have this AI, of course, Wired being a Western media outpost is going to be like, oh, the AI spied on the Russians, where we don't even know what kind of AI Putin and gang are unleashing during this conflict and what kind of advantages or data collection or whatever might be going on. That's part of the craziness, is the invisible war aspect of this. You really don't know what's going on. You just know that there's scanning taking place and you're being watched and everything is being recorded and analyzed by these neural networks and translated into something that might be useful for the enemy or whatever. So,
it's really flattering if you think of it in a way that they just want to pay so much attention to us, Gonz. Attention is attention.
I guess, yeah.
I guess. Okay, well, sounds good. Shall we just take a breath for a second?
Well, we should definitely scream because it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
One last extravaganza from the old Wednesday jingle to the newest Wednesday jingles. I feel peace coming, Gonz. I feel peace.
You know what I just realized is that we're going to be live on Sunday right after the No Agenda show on the No Agenda stream, so we'll send out links and all that. We don't have a Sunday jingle.
Oh my gosh, this is a little bit of an emergency jingle call out. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's there you go. Jingle makers. You guys have been on the ball lately. I'm saying ahead of time, the audio production section of the show today is maybe as a whole, the most incredible audio production we've
bonkers.
Had. Bonkers. Is that a cool Gen Z word I haven't heard? Bonkers. Okay, but as we move, so we need a Sunday jingle, folks. We need a Sunday jingle. Okay, Gonzo, any personal updates before we get into it?
No.
No,
I don't think so.
Keeping it short.
Yeah.
I thought there was. Okay,
I thought there was too. There's always some going on.
I finally need to. Why don't you get that producer jingle ready here?
Okay.
I need to say it out loud, man. Life's been pretty tough recently.
Yeah.
The details aren't really important, but things have been really rowdy. It's been really hard to keep up. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do something I don't usually do, which is call for the producers.
Producers, assemble!
Specifically call them for myself. So just keep your best buddy Basil in your prayers. It is temporary, but things are pretty tough. But we are just pushing. We're pushing through, keeping the show going, and I'll keep everybody posted once the time is right. Yeah. So there you go, producers all around the world. Keep your buddy in your prayers as we just try to make it to Sunday, man. If we can just make it to Sunday, we'll be okay.
All right.
Other than that, I think it's time to take a moment and thank our executive producer for the day.
Executive producers.
There we go. We are on the value for value model, folks. You'll learn more about it in the first break. But just for a nice review, we create value. We do it 3 times a week. And if you get any value from what we're putting out there, you have the opportunity or the personal responsibility to help determine the future of independent media, because the war is cranking up against independent media, especially with things like the impending failure of CNN Plus. We know how the lizard people work. Big corporations, if they can't beat you, they destroy you. And we've seen over the past few years just the power that the mainstream corporate news can have in debilitating independent media, because it's a danger to them, and we just do it better, and they don't like that. So the value for value model is really the only way that true independent media can survive and grow into the future, where it may be our best and only chance to break free from some sort of simulation that the media likes to create around us. And when it comes to receiving value, to keep that value going, we just invite listeners to partake in the value for value system. Independent media, some of them, they'll play ads or they'll have affiliate codes, and they'll get kind of wrapped up in the sticky web of corporate money, and inevitably corporate incentives will sneak their way in, whether implicitly or explicitly. And to avoid those risks and putting the true independence of this show at risk, we ask that you listeners not take responsibility, but feel ownership over the future of the show, because it's the only way. They can't stop all of us, folks. And so we want to thank our executive producer for the day, who comes in to support the show in a generous fashion, really helps keep the show going. And our executive producer for Canary Cry News Talk, episode 468, is Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes.
Thank you, Dame Lynn.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes, thank you so much. Always there, coming in, executive producing when things get slow or tough or uncertain. And it means a lot, Dame Lynn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will be thanking you again later on in our first break, when we thank the rest of our producers.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All right.
Well, you know what time it is, Gonz.
Is it Flippy time?
It's Flippy time. Yeah, we need to figure that out.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, this is coming from the Baltimore Sun, your number one outlet for Flippy news today in this exact moment, and usually not actually ever before or after. The headline of this article
what is Flippy?
Oh, yeah, Flippy.
Yeah.
Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses.
There we go.
We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Gonz, the headline on this article is obscured by an advertisement.
Yes.
That is in the way.
I had to actually get a text-only version to make this show correctly on our little browser screen here. Do you want me to read the title?
I'll read it.
Okay.
I'll read it off the browser screen.
All right.
Moderna co-founder. Oh. Didn't see that coming, did you? Moderna co-founder joins board of Baltimore surgical robot startup. Uh-oh. The merging of worlds, Gonz. This sounds dangerous. A big name in the medical field is joining the board of AI-LIEN Robotics, a biotech startup in Baltimore. Robert Langer, one of the co-founders of pharmaceutical giant Moderna.
It's a pharmaceutical Nephilim.
Yes, the pharmaceutical giant, which is hilarious. They must be so proud, but because before, I don't know, a worldwide crisis used as an excuse and justification for centralizing power in the hands of a few lizard people over the well-being and livelihoods of almost billions, probably, of regular humans just trying to live their life. Before that, Moderna was nobody. They had never made.
They were a multi-billion-dollar nobody company with no product for 10 years.
I don't even think they had hit $1 billion.
Oh no, they had.
Really?
Yeah, they were a billion-dollar company.
They were the most well-funded company that had never put out a single product
until the pandemic.
But now they're pharmaceutical giants, so that's great. Good for them. Robert Langer, one of the co-founders of pharmaceutical giant Moderna, said the Pigtown company's robotic arm could change the way surgeries are done. Quote, I thought it was really cool, and I think it could help a lot of people, Langer said of Galen. Langer.
He's just one of us.
He's just a regular man, just thinking robots are cool. Quote, they're bringing robotic surgery into areas that could make a huge impact. Langer, an engineer, has helped found dozens of biotech startups and is currently a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Quote, he's a legend. Everybody knows who he is, Galen CEO Bruce Lekorowick said. Quote, I wanted to get somebody on the board who had more business experience than me, and I wanted to have somebody on the board who can give straight advice to us. Wow. Okay. Lekorowick compared Galen's robotic arm to power steering for surgeons, saying it increases their dexterity and stability, reduces fatigue, and prevents cramps during long surgeries, all of which lead to safer, less invasive surgeries. Langer came to Galen thanks to neurosurgeon, yada, yada, yada. Not important. But here's a fun quote. We're completely blown away that he would even consider little old Galen who, Lekorowick joked. So modest, this guy. Galen Robotics has its roots in research from Johns Hopkins University.
There it is.
But the firm had been based in Silicon Valley until 2019. Baltimore and Maryland wooed the company with about $9 million worth of incentives, Lekorowick said, and Galen decided to settle in Pigtown, which is covered by an opportunity zone, a federal place-based tax incentive program. Pigtown. Have you ever heard of Pigtown?
I have not.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, I think
is Baltimore considered Pigtown?
I have no idea. I think it's kind of fun that they started in Silicon Valley, but then kind of had to move closer to the center of the sort of political powers of the country.
Yep, 100%.
Yep, which is a wonderful place for Moderna to sort of have their influence as well. Quote, the reception that Baltimore gave us was incredible. The company currently employs 40 people. Yeah. So
read this part right here. The robotic arm being developed by Galen is not for sale.
You're right. I wanted to go there. Yeah. Yes, the robotic arm being developed by Galen is not for sale yet, so don't even try, Gonz. But Lekorowick said the company expects to submit an application to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration later this year. Oh, so that makes a lot of sense.
How are the FDA so powerful? They're just this bureaucratic umbrella that cannot be pierced unless you have their blessing. It's just unreal.
Yeah, because they're sort of, they're a regulatory agency, but they sort of work like a mafia type gatekeeper. And what better way to get your robotic arm through an FDA process than putting an expert on your board? You know, they say, oh, we love his business experience. He's such a straight shooter. He's so knowledgeable.
This is a connection. This is a networking play.
Oh, I love it because they brag about this guy so much and how they're so excited. And literally the quote from the guy, the Moderna guy, is, yeah, robots are cool, man. It's really, I love them. Cool expertise. But having him on the board pretty much makes it a guarantee.
There's a shoo-in that you're going to get government support or just learn the ropes, learn how to play that lobbyist game. Yeah, he's
got the access.
Yeah.
Moderna, as we know, connected with the, all of the FDA shenanigans when it comes to approving Moderna's other product. Wink. Is going to come in handy when it comes to approving this surgical robot. And so what this means is FLIPPY
Has an
He's
enemy.
He's going to medical school, baby.
No, this is an enemy.
He started flipping burgers, and now look at him. He's a surgeon. Mama Flippy will be proud.
This is the classic divide and conquer. Half the Flippies will be none of this Moderna nonsense, big pharma sellout nonsense. But the other half will be like, hey man, this is why we were created, to move up the ladder.
Flippy class warfare. Now this surgeon robotic arm is going to look down at burger flipping robotic arm and be like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, little whippersnapper. I did it. I became a surgeon, and you're just still at home flipping burgers. And so, I think it's interesting in a lot of ways. But one of the bigger, sort of more serious aspects of this is that you have the elite pharmaceutical, medical, tyrannical, whatever, panopticon control mechanism, the whole empire that has been built. Specifically
strengthened in this last 2 years.
Oh, even just with Moderna. I mean, this was their time. They came to power. They are kings in their own right. And when the king, decides that the robotic arms can step up to the podium and become a tool of the state, or the official mechanisms of the dystopian, medical technocracy we're moving into. It's a big milestone, I'd say, for Flippy and his ultimate goal to infiltrate human beings, get us to love him, and then turn on us and flip us like a burger. Make sure we're well done on both sides.
Well, I don't see Pfizer. We'll see. We'll have to see if Pfizer makes some kind of move.
Ooh, what if they had a battle like the Moderna Pfizer vaccine battle? Suddenly, there's the Moderna bot and Pfizer bot.
It's a joust with a humongous syringe, robot arm, sword fight.
A bunch of TikTok trends. You got your Pfizer heads and your Moderna mommies, and now they get to fight over another thing, which is Flippy arms. Which one will be the most destructive when it comes to the end of humanity? So there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day. Keeping you posted. Stay frosty, everybody.
Very good. All right. Well, go to CanaryCry.Party. Put it in your browser.
It's a real place.
Party time.
Find live stream, clips, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, and other ways to connect with other Canarians and become a producer.
It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay, CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. Go check it out. All sorts of great resources. Get connected to the community, join the Discord channel, or just find a bunch of other fun things to explore within the Canaryverse here. I do want to plug Ravel, which is another podcast that I do with a very smart, intelligent individual, Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's a PhD in biblical interpretation, who just had a little cute baby. But we are back on track with Ravel episodes. Our final episode for our Artist On interview series is up and live. It is with a comedian named Elliot Morgan. We talk about all sorts of things. I don't know, including comedy, but it's not just comedy, including God, but it's not just God. It's really, I actually listened to this podcast episode after we posted it, which is not something I do very often because I got other things to do. And I was listening to it and I thought to myself, that was a good podcast. So go check it out. Ravel on all sorts of podcast players, anywhere, apparently except Stitcher. Now, keep in mind, there are 2 Ravel podcasts. The other one stole our name. But Ours is the one with the cool logo and my name on it. And while you're at it, go ahead and follow the CanaryCry.Clips channel, which is continually getting upgraded with more and more videos every single day. And now there are playlists on that channel featuring the separated by episode number. So if you liked one certain episode and you want to go revisit a segment or check our work or prove us wrong or something, go ahead and do that. It's also a great way to share clips of the show if you want to let people know about the information on the show without subjecting them to a full episode. So go follow CanaryCry.Clips, please, and enjoy it. And other than that, get the text alerts. You know, it's fun. You can get text alerts sent directly to your phone when we go live, so you'll never miss another show. You'll see it on the screen there. You want to text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And that's it, folks. On with the show.
You know what I forgot to do at the end of the Flippy is the Flippy closer.
Flippy.
Oh, yeah.
1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Exterminate.
New world order.
New World Order. We're at the New York Post, and the headline is Zelensky is right. The United Nations is useless. I love this. I love this. The twists and turns of the great comedian, actor, president of Ukraine.
You know what this, real quick, just to make the connection here, Bill Gates recently said this exact thing. Ooh. Remember in his book recommendations?
Right.
He was giving his book recommendations and he's like, you know, the most unbelievable thing in this book is that the United Nations was useful and powerful.
Right. We reported on that a couple episodes ago.
Now we have Zelensky coming out and straight up saying the United Nations is useless. I wonder if there's some sort of lizard person PR campaign against the United Nations.
Maybe NATO wants to swallow up the UN, you know?
Yeah.
Just maybe make it a NATO thing, yeah.
It really connects with the Great Reset, New World Order 2.0. Of course, we had New World Order 1 after the Second World War. Yeah. And that was the big New World Order, yada, yada, yada. But now that's not good enough. We have purposeful, powerful, long-range destruction of that first New World Order into this new World Order. And it sounds like to me, Gonz, that the United Nations, which was really the bastion, the symbol of the global New World Order after World War II. And I think if we were talking about sacrifice, whatever sacrifice is required for this New World Order, United Nations, I think, is on the altar.
There was a man named Benjamin Krem who had tremendous influence at the UN. What is it, the 40s, 50s, something like that? And he was the one that was talking about Maitreya being a savior. That's going to come and all this kind of stuff. And that all sort of went away. And the UN became more of like this humanitarian institution. But its roots are really connected to all the new agey, woo-woo channeling entities ideas. So, something to keep in mind. And it's interesting that, maybe it was meant to be torn down to begin with or, changed or I don't know, whatever. But let's just see what this article says here. Back to Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Yeah, get it right.
I know. I don't want to offend anybody. Gave voice to a terrible truth in his UN speech Tuesday. The United Nations is an utter failure. If the organization won't actually work to end Russia's Ukraine war, he said it should dissolve itself.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, bro. Hold me back.
Considering the sort of odd lustfulness that the media has for Zelensky, he has a lot of say. What he says, there are tons of not just mainstream corporate news people who will basically, they worship the ground he walks on, but that trickles down to what the news calls wine moms and just people who kind of love the guy and just feel virtue signally by agreeing with whatever he says. This could be a very powerful statement.
Yeah. Quote, "Are you ready to close?" he asked the assembled dignitaries after pointing out that the brutal war violates the UN Charter's first article. He's right to ask, long fetishized by progressives around the globe as the last bulwark of civilization against unending war, the United Nations has proven singularly inept at actually preventing violence and isolating dangerous regimes. In fact, it often empowers them. Thank you, New York Post, for shedding some truth on that fact that I think a lot of us have been saying for a very long time. And maybe that's what this is. The world analytics, the looking at the sentiment of the world has changed. More people are against the United Nations in general. And so now these politicians are playing the game, so to speak, to, ride those changes or ride those waves of opinions. As Zelensky put it, quote, "Where is the security that the Security Council is supposed to guarantee?" Russia's presence as a permanent member of the Security Council's table, especially now in the face of the sickening images of its war crimes in Bucha, makes a mockery both of the UN as an organization and the principles it claims to stand for. Zelensky correctly characterized Russia's behavior as, quote, "no different from that of ISIS." The same, he has invoked every single thing. ISIS,
he's
9/11,
good at reading a script, man. He's got
Pearl
good
Harbor,
script writers.
Just like, wow, man, really getting to all the big bazookas.
Yep, it's the triggers. I mean, on one hand, it's just quality rhetoric as far as triggering people goes, but it is more than just that. I mean, these are triggers that have been programmed through social engineering into the brains and the minds of people all over the world, but especially the U.S. And he's using the code words. I mean, it's basically a form of like MK Ultra, and it's working, and people love it.
Oh, people love it. Then it mentions how it's similar to China's permanent membership, but with the brutal internal war against the Uyghurs for years and facing no real repercussions. And there's a picture of this council meeting, the UN event here, and there's something interesting I noticed. So they have this like circle. Everyone's kind of sitting around the circle-shaped desk seat thing, and what do you call it? What is this called? I don't know what it's called. Where there's like a circular round, like a horseshoe shaped. Yeah, it's a horseshoe shaped giant.
Yeah, it reminds me of. I recently finished watching Man in the High Castle, and in the last season, all the Nazis were sitting around their version of that same thing with the big screen behind them. It's the big screen, like perfect.
What I want to point out though is in the center of the circle is a camera or maybe it's a projector. A projector camera, it's something, and it's cloaked with this purple like skirt, and it has this kind of like royalty feel to it. Like, oh, the AI is watching us. We must, clothe him with the proper apparel.
Oh. Well, not even just the AI. I mean, that's the projector that is projecting Zelensky. So it's almost like putting a purple robe on Zelensky.
Yeah. So all this comes from. And just an update for this. Yeah, this page, I knew it was going to mess up because this thing keeps updating. But basically, they've agreed that they're going to vote on Russia's membership in the Security Council on Thursday. So they are going to do that. They're probably going to vote him out, which sets precedent for maybe China to get kicked out. And then now we're talking truly this whole UN thing falling apart.
The separation. I mean, the I don't even know what the word, the exile.
Right.
It's the exile of Russia and potentially China afterwards out of just the entire global, the community. I mean, what do you even do after that? I don't know how that helps.
I don't know. Well, it's part of the divide and conquer, I think. You remember how we talked about in the last episode how they're the same way the United States agreed upon the Constitution, 1776. Everyone's together. We're one nation. And then within like 20 years, they're basically two parties formed on how the government should be implemented. A similar thing I feel like is happening now, where the world agrees that we are all one sort of, not official, but kind of unofficial world government. We're all together. We're in this together. And then within
except
that,
for those guys,
in a few years, a split emerges, and then now there's kind of a two-party system. So
yeah, I find an interesting connection with the biblical idea of the scapegoat.
Oh yeah,
in the ancient Hebrew, once a year the community would get a goat, and then they would put all of their sins onto the goat. He would represent, or perhaps literally, spiritually take on the sins of the whole community.
Right,
and then they didn't kill it. They set it free. They disconnected it. They got it away from them. And the goat would run out of the village, and with it carrying all the sins of the community. It's got an interesting feel to that here, where it's, okay, Russia, you're, with all the blaming of Russia, you are the problem with the economy. You are the problem with the oil. You are the problem for, the source
we can't get along because of the world can't get along because of you, Russia.
You're the source of U.S. inflation. You're the source of everything. I mean, you're the source of cybercrime. You're the source of election fraud. You're literally the source of all of our sins. And now we cast you out of the community of nations. I mean, it's when you talk about sort of the occult inklings of the elites, it is very much a ritual, a scapegoat ritual of putting all of our sins on Russia and then casting them out, and having that carry away all of our sins. And we will see if that fixes gas prices. So I don't know. We'll see.
You know what might fix gas prices is AI.
Okay.
So part of this, this is Zelensky sort of poking the UN to do something, right? And it's pressuring the UN to actually make something happen, and making it look bad. Well, of course, the New York Times is going to take the initiative to kind of agree with Zelensky, but also pointing out the problem with the United Nations, taking the opportunity there. But I have this just real quick. What the headline of this article, written in the Scientific American under climate change. So we got some climate change here. Climate change. The headline is what AI can do for climate change and what climate change can do for AI.
Ask not what AI can do for climate change. Ask what climate change can do for AI.
I mean, come on. And so this is, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, said that we are on our way because of climate change to a firmly on, this is a quote, firmly on track toward an unlivable world. And so, the whole article is talking about we got to use AI, specifically this report from the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence presented at the COP26 Climate Summit last November. So they came up with this report that says you
mean the failed, useless meeting that everybody had to take private jets to and, just put their hypocrisy on display while not coming to a single agreement, which was a great opportunity to get some Greta Thunberg clips, though. We wouldn't have half of our Greta clips if it weren't for the COP20 summit.
So just to wrap up this point here, because climate change affects each location differently, AI innovations here rest on broad-based input as an empirical foundation that motivates, validates, and diversifies. This subset of artificial intelligence turning an unprecedented crisis into grounds for solidarity couldn't be more different from social media algorithms, facial recognition software,
never let a good crisis go to waste,
and autonomous weapon systems. The UN report notes that the path to a non-catastrophic future is technologically feasible. Quote, climate AI could be a key part of that equation. It's up to us to make the most of it.
Wow.
So there you go. Yeah, it's just funny how they're like, oh, the UN is just completely worthless. And then they're like,
but we need the AI.
We need the AI to fix the
robots
climate.
will save us.
We need the UN to help us build the AI to fix the climate because all you bad people.
I loved how they listed everything. It wasn't just the climate. It was weapons and this and that. And,
well, they're saying that this climate AI is different from all that. It's like a different algorithm.
Oh, it's not the evil AI that's going to kill us.
Yeah.
It's the AI that will resuscitate Gaia.
Right.
We need the robot to give Gaia the sleeping kiss to bring her back to life. Yeah, what a great idea, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I want you to cover this. This is great. This is a fantastic story.
Very excited. Do it again. That's seriously the longest PsyOps jingle we have.
PsyOps.
Do you want to hear the whole thing?
Let's do the whole thing.
This was an NSA-style hybrid war PsyOps.
There we go. It just really sets the mood, you know. This is coming from MSN.com, but it is mirrored by Raw Story. And the headline, it's mirrored by MSN from Raw Story. The headline is Fox viewers are less likely to believe lies after being paid. Hold on. I love this so much. Fox viewers are less likely to believe lies after being paid to watch CNN for 30 days as a study. Like, what in the world? Remember when the Canadian doctor diagnosed a woman with climate change? That was the disease, right? Mm-hmm. This is going to be, the prescription to cure your lies from Fox is watching CNN. Man, CNN is on the ball with this one. I hope there's a CNN Plus affiliate code at the end of this. A groundbreaking new study paid viewers of the Fox News network to watch CNN for 30 days. What they found is that the viewers ultimately became more skeptical and less likely to buy into fake news.
I love that the premise, the presupposition of this entire thing is that CNN and MSN, was it MSN, right?
It's just CNN.
Just CNN? Is
CNN here
is the bastion of truth, and everything that diverges from that is fake news. I love it.
CNN is true. This is not even a question in the study. It's just CNN is true and Fox is lies. And when you watch true, you don't believe lies.
When you get paid to watch true, you stop believing lies.
Yeah. What they found is that the viewers ultimately became more skeptical and less likely to buy into fake news. The early impacts after just 3 days showed that the viewers were already starting to change. That is spooking me out, man. 3 days of watching CNN begins to change you already. Like, that shows the power of the corporate mainstream news. I mean, you can be a full-on Fox person and you get strapped to a chair with your eyelids taped open watching CNN, and it changes you. It's the power of the PSYOP.
Yeah.
The findings of the study, written by David E. Brockman and Joshua L. Kalla, explained that the experiment used content analysis comparing the two networks during September 2020. Oh, what a convenient time. Quote, during this period, the researchers explained that CNN provided extensive coverage of COVID-19, which included information about the severity of COVID-19 crisis and poor aspects of Trump's performance handling COVID-19. Fox News covered COVID-19 much less, said the study. The coverage of COVID-19 it did offer provided little of the information CNN did. So at best, like a true logical analysis of that sentence is, at best, they're just saying CNN and Fox told different lies.
Yeah.
Instead, giving viewers information about why the virus was not a serious threat. On the other hand, Fox News extensively but highly selectively covered racial issues, Yeah, because CNN doesn't do that. And its coverage of these issues provided extensive information about Biden and other Democrats' supposed positions on them, and about outbreaks of violence and protests for racial justice in American cities. CNN provided little information about either. The networks both covered the issue of voting by mail, but again, dramatically different information about it, in addition to offering different frames. I have
a quick thing I have to run to real quick. I'll be right back.
Sure, I'll keep reading. Yeah, the idea that CNN provided little information about outbreaks of violence at protests for racial justice, they're basically just saying CNN didn't cover Black Lives Matter, which is the most ludicrous thing that I have ever heard. But okay, let's keep moving. Raw story. Remember that, folks. This is raw story. Quote, it's far from obvious, they surmised, that viewing different networks would affect the beliefs and attitudes of the viewer. What universe are these scientists living in that they postulate that it's far from obvious that the networks, watching different networks, affects the beliefs and attitudes of the viewer? What in the world are they talking about? Again, the presupposition that they're trying to work from is, oh no, people watch news because it's what they already believe. It does not affect what they believe, which is obviously ludicrous, but that idea does benefit the news organization, because if people were aware that the very act of watching one news station over another could fundamentally change you because it's a psychological operation, and its whole goal is to influence the public and create a worldview and narrative which makes them controllable by one force or another. Obviously, that's the case, but not from the scientists here. Oh, it's far from obvious that when you watch different news, you believe different things. In fact, it wasn't so much that viewers were tuning in because they already felt that way. Their attitudes were actually being formed from the Fox network. They point out that oh, no. CNN, that wasn't brainwashing anybody. It was just Fox News that was brainwashing people. They got unbrainwashed by watching CNN. The Fox viewers were nearly all very conservative and strong Republicans, the study explained.
That doesn't require a lot of...
It is also not true.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Nielsen ratings have come out that more Democrats watch Tucker Carlson than Republicans.
It's like the rage thing, right?
There's many different reasons for sure, but
the same reason conservatives and right wing people watch CNN,
right?
Yeah,
but under the same concept that these scientists are so shocked that watching a certain show can change your mind. I mean, think of the implications of that. You have more Democrats watching Tucker Carlson than Republicans. And if, of course, we know that watching news changes your mind. That's the whole point. It's social engineering. So you have a bunch of Democrats hate watching Tucker Carlson and slowly being changed by him. Ooh. Of 763 qualifying participants, we then randomized 40% of the treatment group to change the slant of their media diet. We offered treatment group I love treatment. We're treating these Fox viewers with our prescription of CNN. I mean, seriously, they're using these medical terms.
It's really
crazy. Nuts. We treated the Fox viewers with CNN. We offered treatment group participants $15 an hour to watch 7 hours of CNN per week. That is not enough money to watch 7 hours of CNN.
$15 per hour? Oh, no way, man.
Yeah. During September 2020, prioritizing the hours at which participants indicated they typically watched Fox News. At the 3-day mark, the viewers took a survey. Quote, we found large effects of watching CNN instead of Fox News on participants' factual perceptions of current events. and i.e. beliefs, and knowledge about the 2020 presidential candidates' positions, they found. They discovered changes in attitudes about Donald Trump and Republicans, as well as a large effect on their opinions about COVID. The viewers also evolved to believe that if they evolved. Which is funny because the implication there is they got better. You know, they transcended their ape form, their ape-like fox-watching form to some sort of illuminated master.
It presupposes also that anybody who watches Fox News for any news coverage is somehow like a lower-level human.
That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
They're still apes. They need it. Okay. The viewers also evolved to believe that Donald Trump made a mistake.
Or if Donald Trump made a mistake, Fox News would not cover it, i.e. the Fox News engages in partisan coverage filtering, as if CNN doesn't. Come on. What are you saying?
Yeah, Fox, unlike CNN, engages in partisan coverage filtering. The findings might suggest that the most cost-effective way for Democrats to win elections is to start running their own infomercials or commercials on the Fox networks. While the report is 126 pages long, the first 5 have the full findings. And there it is, Gonz. During this reading this, the thing that comes to mind immediately is, of course CNN paid for this study. I mean, this study is not real science. It's obviously a corporate marketing, fake
study. A study, quote unquote.
Right. It's a study, much like so many other studies, just happen to benefit corporations more than people. But the fact that it says here, the findings suggest, they're just telling you, right here, this is a marketing opportunity. If you want to win, Democrats, advertise on Fox News. I think that Fox made this up. I think Fox funded this study. Fox paid for it. It's
so they can get the advertisers.
Exactly. It's so wildly ridiculous, as I cannot help but interrupt myself reading it to explain. It is so wildly ludicrous and unscientific what they've put together here that it makes CNN look bad. How ludicrous it sounds. And
Lost Story took the bait, apparently.
They took the bait. I don't even think they took the bait. I think they got paid for this.
Oh, probably. There's no way anybody would talk about this unless there's any kind of financial or some kind of financial incentive at every level.
Remember, these corporate news outlets, they are businesses more than anything else. They do not care about the truth. They do not care about our lives. They do not care about their effects on people and children and families and society. They do not care. They are profit-generating institutions. And if in order to get all that sweet, sweet Democrat money with the midterms looming and the polls showing that Democrats are going to get swept under the rug, the best brilliant move by Fox News is to pay for this study, put it out there, and convince Democratic organizations, Democratic candidates that advertising on Fox News is the one way to beat the Republicans. And they are going to make $1 billion because of this. Yeah. It is brilliant. And it is just a wonderful expression of the doublethink, the manipulation that even Fox News, believe it or not, folks, Fox News just wants your money, and they want Democrats' money too. And I think they were tipped off to this because of the ratings on how many Democrats watch Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
So there you go. It is really a delight. This makes me so happy that this was done. And that's why you can't trust mainstream corporate news media, and you cannot trust an institution that relies on advertising to fund itself. Let's take a break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
And That's why you're here, folks. You're here because there's no advertising. We're not here making up fake science in order to convince our rivals to pay us for advertising.
Everybody
or
loves
whatever.
waffles.
Who even knows? Yes, Ben Shapiro needs to take a hint, folks. You may notice no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever. Not from YouTube, not from Twitch, no partnerships, no nothing. Because we are entirely funded by listeners like you who have joined the cause. They realize that it is all of our responsibility to ensure and insulate independent media, true independent media, not independent media by name that then shills for corporations, but true independent media with no connection to the monstrosity that is advertising and its sort of minionship for corporate America and, really the world structure and ghost of corporate greed that floats over the deep. And so that's why we're on the value for value model. We create value. We do it 3 times a week. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity to put value back in. And without the participation of our producers, this show just will not survive. It cannot survive, and it will not survive. And so not only are these producers, they are producers because they are producing the show. We could not do it without them. But they are also making possible an alternative to the shenanigans of the lizard people. So, if you're at home and you did not produce this episode, thank God for these producers because they're the ones bringing us the show today. And I suppose we should just get right into it. If you want to become a producer, you should go to patreon.com/CCNT or even better, CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support.
Ooh, Anne in the YouTube chat just gave me such a gift. Subvertiser. Not advertisers. Subvertisers. There's like a subterfuge sort of element to it. I like it. Thank you. Thank you.
Subterranean, the underneath.
The mole people.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to start out with our executive producer for this episode.
Executive producers.
That's right. Our executive producer for the day is the one and only, the brilliant and generous Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dame Lynn. Appreciate it.
Dame Lynn comes in for $118.88 plus fees, which we appreciate. And here's a note, $118.88. Sounded good plus fees. I like that. Nice and simple. Yeah, it just sounded like a good number. I trust, I believe, I love. Keep up the good work, guys. Dame Lynn, Lady of the Lakes.
Thank you very much, Dame Lynn.
Like that, to the point, punchy. I trust, I believe, I love. And we do all those things to you, Dame Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where'd you find this?
I want to just mention Canary Cry Supply Drop. That's right. CanaryCry.Supply.com is our producer thank you campaign. If you want to become a producer, you want to support the show, you want to become a part of the family that keeps independent media alive into the future, please go to CanaryCry.Supply.com. And for $33.33 a month, when you support the show with your producership for $33.33, you'll be put on a list to receive 4 free gift packages a year filled with custom, super cool, one-time only manufacturing run, created with love by myself and Gonz and producers, Sir Isaac, and the artists. Sir Dove's got some pieces. Runk Smash got some pieces. Allie's involved. It's really a beautiful package that is on the way to our people. And you get them 4 times a year, once per quarter. The first one is just moments away from showing up at the door, and you will also be getting NFTs. I know, who knew it? Look, folks, if anybody is questioning the very idea of NFTs, it is me. But who would we be if we were not keeping up with the times and providing value to our producers? So we've got the very first Canary Cry News Talk NFT minted and ready to send out to our supply droppers. Keep an eye out for an email, supply droppers. And if you out there want to participate, become part of the family, receive your supply drops, go to CanaryCry.Supply.com. And we're all waiting for the supply drop.
Waiting for the supply drop.
Okay, here we go. I want to thank some more producers, and you might notice we're just zooming through it, folks, because we got a lot more show to get to. Starting with producer Emily H.
Thank you, Emily H.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Emily H comes in with $33.33 plus fees. And a note that says, "It was the shame, Basil. Three love you guys." Emily. Yes, I didn't like that I did that, but thank you for the wink and the nod, Emily. Sometimes positive reinforcement is not the most effective.
Thank you, Emily.
I will say this, Emily. You may have been the only person to respond to the shame. It is an incredibly short list of producers today. But thank you very much, Emily H.
Thank you, Emily H.
Next up, we've got producer Morv on a 73 episodes. Comes in with $11.11 and a note. "My dudes, happy Wednesday, fam."
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hold on. Play one of the new ones.
Okay.
Let's do it. I want to hear the new one.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Wednesday.
Love it. Thank you, Morv. Next up on the list, Gonz. Ooh, we got a fun number here. Is Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch, who is on an 88 episode streak.
Freaking! Come on, everybody, we're going!
1001. Amen. Flawless victory.
And Sir JC says, "It is Wednesday."
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
He says, "Now, if my dudes would so kindly play the most recent WMD jingle, that would make my day. Many blessings." I'm not sure if that was the most recent.
I think that was the most recent one.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
There you go, Sir JC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sir JC.
Next up, we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, on a 129 episode streak.
Woo.
Yeah!
Quicker.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And it comes in with a pocket full of sevens. Thank you very much, Sir Scott.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Next up, we've got Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, The Streak, 139 episodes.
Well, yes, they call him the street. Fastest thing on 2 feet.
Pocket full of sevens and a note. Shout out to our friend Crystal. Oh, hi, Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
Shout out to you. A new Canarian. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's new.
Yeah.
Crystal, welcome. I wonder how many episodes Crystal has listened to. Can you hit her with the Gavin Newsom Women Rule followed by a Howard Dean scream? Thanks, guys.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Finish the note.
Yeshua be with you.
Women rule!
There you go. That's for you, Crystal. Welcome to the family. Happy to have you here. And, as a new Canarian, I'm sure she's listening to the producer segment here. Next up, we've got producer Isaac G on a 2-episode streak.
Thank you, Isaac G.
And we better call the producers.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. Producers around the world, the Canary Cry prayer team, official and unofficial members, all listen up, because here's a note from Isaac G. Thank you, Isaac, for your pocket full of sevens. Calling producers, there is a major bill receiving a very important hearing in the Missouri State Capitol today. If it makes it through, it will completely abolish abortion without exception in our state. Please pray this can get through. Wow, I have not heard of this. This has been happening. I mean, there's this and that happening. You really don't hear about Missouri. I didn't hear about Missouri.
I think
it's
I saw
Texas, baby.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about this, and then I also saw in California they just passed the early stages of a bill that would basically, according to the language, and it's debated, they can terminate a child like 7 days after they're born, basically. I forget the word they use. It's like perinatal instead of prenatal. It's like perinatal. And it define, if you look at like the definition, it says like, a child up to 7 days.
Yeah, I will need to read that.
There's a context about, the different medical condition.
Wrong.
Right. So there's a little bit of a flaring of the right, so to speak, with that.
Sure,
but also,
I mean, that's pretty sick.
There is wiggle room for that language to be used in a more nefarious way. So,
as there
different
always
states.
is. Yeah. My goodness. Okay. Well, yes. There you go, producers. Missouri State Capitol today.
All right. Thank you very much, Isaac G.
Yeah.
Pray
And
for
you know what, Gonz? That technically ends that list of producers. Now, let me look at the thing here. Okay. We had a couple people come in, so I'm going to give them some credit. We have. He goes in the next section. Let's see. Who's this? Here we go. This comes from. Oh. Who is this? Do you know who this is? Will you just real quick jump into the email and check the most recent PayPal thing? Is this somebody we know who has a name that we need to call them?
Let me see here. Well, it was great radio.
I know. I'm sorry. What got me was the note that came with it.
Oh, is this Child of God?
No, this is not Child of God. I was thinking maybe this was Big Tank, but we haven't heard from Big Tank, and I forgot. I'm sorry, Big Tank. I forget your real human name. But I'll just go for it. Here we go. Thank you to Brenton B.
Oh, thank you, Brenton. I must be looking at the wrong one. That's not the one I was looking at.
Yeah, you must be. Thank you very much, Brenton B. And Brenton B comes in for $20.91.
All right.
Yeah, and his note says, "What's your 20?" Why don't we give him that trucker jingle?
Oh gosh. Fingers on all kinds of other buttons. Here we go.
This is Robert Ducky. What's your 1020? Over. Chug you. We got us a convoy. Over.
That's right. We love our Canary Cry truckers, and that's part of why we do long shows, because they got long hauls.
They got long hauls, yeah.
Got a lot of time on their hands. Okay, that does conclude our list of producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, and which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we got a few more people to thank. No, there's a lot of people dropping off here, and I'm going to thank them now, starting with the Streak Sisters, Veronica D, on a 105-episode streak.
Yeah! Quicker! Women rule! Thank you so much.
That's right. Thank you very much, Veronica D. Next up, we got the other Streak Sister. That's Gail M. with a 105-episode streak.
Yeah! Quicker! Women rule! So much.
That's right. Last but not least, we've got producer Runk Smash coming in on an 18-episode streak.
Which means he's going supernova.
This is Charlie November Tango. You are approaching supernova. Repeat, you are approaching supernova.
There you go. That's all of them. It's nice that we could get through the list quickly. I will say, I say it every once in a while, fun part about the producer the value for value model is, the producers will let us know when we've stopped providing value, and we'll know what's good, when it's a good signal. This is, the last show was our previous record for least produced episode. And now this is a new record for least produced episode. I have to believe that the fact that tax day is coming up has something to do with this. Or else, Gonz, we're in trouble. Something we're doing isn't providing the value anymore.
Buy the dip, folks. When there's blood on the streets, that's when the future Canarium billionaires are minted.
Yeah, right. Okay, I see what you're saying. There's a Canary Cry recession going on now,
right.
And this is when
we'll pull back.
Canary Cry millionaires are made. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, just straight up 10 producers. All right. Well, here's the thing. I would be lying and dishonest if I didn't say that this didn't worry me a little bit, folks. And I know times are crazy, times are tough, but now is the time for those producers. If you find value in this show and you want to see the show continue into the future, for it to be a part of the news ecosystem online, then time to produce, baby. Let's do it. Let's keep it going, because so far a different signal is being received. Now, again, there's plenty of reasons for this. The world is upside down. Gas is expensive, of course. Value for value is the first thing to get cut off the budget. We're not asking anybody to do anything to put themselves at risk or to make life too uncomfortable or anything. But for those producers who are not in as tight of a situation, so a lot of producers are doing just fine. This is the time for you to jump on in and help carry the load for your fellow producers. And that's it. Okay. Let's see. Thank you all for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message. That's right. Go to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com. On the bottom or the right-hand side of the page, you'll see a green tab. That green tab will tell you that you can leave a little voice message for us. Use it for whatever you want. Leave us a message. Say hi. Make something beautiful, whatever the case may be. Tell your celebrity friends to call in and weigh in on different topics as well. Whatever it is, just know you're giving us permission to play it on the show, but it is not guaranteed. Gonz, who is leaving us messages today?
We got one from Rochelle.
Happy Wednesday. Ooh. I was trying to think of a way to express my gratitude to the show host and the producers and the creators of this awesome calendar I use on a daily basis. Fun. Anyway, my peculiar talent is that I like to sing scripture. So if you've got any favorite Bible verses or just want a fun way to memorize, leave a message. And I would be honored to create an original just for you and, our fellow Canarians, a little Canarian sing-song scripture session. Yeah, like here's my first and still favorite scripture song, Isaiah 58:11. And what you do is you read all the versions of it, but just for fun, we'll do the King James. The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your soul in drought and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. So if you want a way to memorize this, turn it into a song. Lord, always lead me and satisfy my bones. Make me like a well-watered garden from a spring whose waters never run dry. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
Beautiful. What fun that is.
A more relaxed state now.
Yeah. Did you do the water or did she do the water?
I added the water.
Oh, you're messing with it.
She was reading the descriptions about the well. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, got it. Yeah. Thank you very much, Rochelle. How fun is that? And making an offer to producers and listeners of the show. She'll do a little song right for you. And it sounds like she's saying leave a voice message and request it, and then she'll get you on the next episode. So that'll be fun. Go ahead. Go leave a message. Make a request. Rochelle has got your back when it comes to singing some little scripture. Always fun.
Good stuff. I think that's it.
Okay.
We don't have any
just
other...
the one, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, I didn't check your work, so I'm going to have to trust you. Okay, now that concludes that, and we're coming pretty much right up to the end of this break, which is nice and short. I do want to say, what did I want to say?
Well,
I wanted to say something.
Okay.
I forget. So let's keep going.
What wasn't that short?
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's only long because of me.
Okay.
All right, YouTube, get on out of here. You got to go watch the rest of this live broadcast on another channel because what follows is too hot for YouTube.
Too hot.
Go to CanaryCry.Party to find our other broadcast locations.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odysee, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
Oh,
That's
I'm
right.
completely kicked out of Restream. That's good to know.
Good. I hope we're still going.
I think we are.
All right. Yeah. I mean, chat's still coming in. I see that cute little penguin walking away.
Good.
So, yeah, everything's good.
All right. Well, bye, YouTube. We'll see you guys.